Hello, my friend. Welcome to StoryFace English. Take a slow breath and relax. Imagine standing beside the Mediterranean Sea more than 2,000 years ago. The waves move gently beneath a golden sunset. Ships arrive from distant lands, carrying treasures, ideas, and secrets from every corner of the known world. Ahead of you rises a magnificent city, unlike any other. A place where knowledge was more valuable than gold. A place that promised to collect the wisdom of humanity itself. At the heart of that city stood a building that seemed almost impossible. Its halls contained thousands upon thousands of scrolls. Scholars traveled across deserts and oceans just to study there. Kings admired it. Philosophers dreamed of it. Scientists filled its shelves with discoveries that changed human understanding forever. People called it the Great Library of Alexandria. Even today, centuries after its destruction, its name continues to inspire wonder and mystery around the world. But here is the question that still fascinates historians. What exactly was hidden inside those walls? What knowledge disappeared when the library vanished? Some believe it contained secrets capable of changing the course of history. Others argue that priceless discoveries were lost forever. The truth remains buried beneath layers of time. To understand the mystery, we must travel back to the beginning, when one ambitious ruler imagined a city unlike anything the world had ever seen. Our story begins with Alexander the Great. His armies had conquered enormous territories stretching across continents. Kingdom after kingdom fell before him. Yet Alexander wanted something greater than military victories. He wanted to create cities that would unite cultures and spread knowledge. In 331 BCE, along Egypt's northern coast, he chose a location that would become one of the most famous cities in human history. He called it Alexandria. Alexandria quickly became more than a city. It became a crossroads of civilization. Merchants arrived from Greece, Egypt, Persia, India, and distant regions beyond. Languages mixed together in busy markets. Ideas traveled alongside valuable goods. New discoveries spread through conversations between travelers who might never have met anywhere else. The city seemed alive with curiosity. Everywhere people looked, they saw opportunity, innovation, and the promise of a brighter future. After Alexander's death, his empire was divided among powerful generals. Egypt came under the rule of Ptolemy I. Unlike many rulers, Ptolemy understood something important. Military power could build an empire, but knowledge could strengthen it for generations. He dreamed of transforming Alexandria into the intellectual center of the world. To achieve that goal, he needed something extraordinary. He needed a place where all human knowledge could be gathered under one roof. Ptolemy's vision was bold. He wanted Alexandria to possess the greatest collection of knowledge ever assembled. Not the greatest in Egypt, not the greatest in the Mediterranean, the greatest in the world. Plans were drawn. Scholars were invited. Resources flowed into the city. What began as an ambitious dream slowly transformed into reality. A magnificent institution started taking shape. Soon, its reputation would spread far beyond Egypt's borders. The Great Library was not simply a building filled with books. It was part of a larger center of learning known as the Museum, a place dedicated to knowledge, research, and discovery. Scholars lived there. They studied together, debated ideas, and shared findings. Imagine walking through halls filled with the brightest minds of the ancient world. Every room contained discussions capable of changing how people understood the universe itself. But gathering knowledge from around the world was not easy.
Ancient books did not exist as printed volumes. Most information was recorded on scrolls made from papyrus. These scrolls traveled slowly across deserts, mountains, and oceans. Yet the rulers of Alexandria were determined. They wanted every important text they could find, every scientific observation, every historical record, every philosophical idea. Nothing seemed too distant or too difficult to obtain.
According to ancient accounts, ships arriving in Alexandria faced an unusual situation. Officials searched for scrolls carried by travelers and merchants. If valuable texts were discovered, copies were created for the owners. The originals remained in the library. Whether every story is completely true remains debated today. But one thing is certain. Alexandria pursued knowledge with extraordinary determination. The city treated ideas as treasures more valuable than gold.
As years passed, the collection grew larger and larger. Scrolls arrived from Greece, others came from Egypt, Persia, and distant regions beyond. Histories, poems, scientific observations, maps, mathematics, medicine, astronomy, and philosophy filled the shelves. Some estimates suggest hundreds of thousands of scrolls eventually found a home within the library's walls. No institution on Earth had ever attempted anything so ambitious before.
The library soon attracted brilliant minds from across the ancient world. Scholars traveled enormous distances to study there. They arrived carrying questions, theories, and dreams of discovery. Within those halls, knowledge was constantly expanding. New ideas emerged from conversations between people from different cultures. The library became more than a collection of texts. It became a living engine of human curiosity, constantly searching for answers to life's greatest mysteries.
One of the remarkable scholars connected to Alexandria was Eratosthenes. He faced a question that seemed impossible. How large is the Earth? Today, the answer feels obvious because we can see our planet from space. But more than 2,000 years ago, nobody possessed satellites or modern technology. Most people could only imagine the world beyond their own horizon. Yet Eratosthenes believed the answer could be discovered through careful observation. Using shadows, mathematics, and logical reasoning, Eratosthenes calculated the Earth's circumference with astonishing accuracy. His result came surprisingly close to modern measurements. Imagine that for a moment. Long before airplanes, computers, or space exploration, a scholar working in Alexandria estimated the size of the entire planet. It was one of history's greatest intellectual achievements and demonstrated the extraordinary power of knowledge gathered within the library.
Other scholars made remarkable contributions as well. Mathematicians developed new theories. Astronomers mapped the heavens. Physicians studied the human body. Engineers explored inventions that seemed centuries ahead of their time. Knowledge flowed through the library like a river. Every discovery inspired new questions. Every answer opened the door to further exploration. Alexandria became a place where humanity pushed the boundaries of what it believed possible. The Great Library eventually entered its golden age. Its halls were filled with activity from sunrise until long after sunset. Scholars copied texts, translated languages, debated theories, and recorded discoveries. Knowledge from different civilizations mixed together in ways never seen before. Greek philosophy met Egyptian wisdom. Persian ideas met scientific observation. The library became a place where the world's brightest minds worked toward a common goal: understanding reality itself. Imagine walking through endless shelves lined with scrolls. Every shelf represented generations of human experience. Stories of ancient kings, records of distant lands, scientific observations collected over centuries, mathematical formulas that revealed hidden patterns in nature. Visitors could spend entire lifetimes studying the collection without reading every text. The library seemed almost infinite, a treasure house built not from gold, but from knowledge. Many historians believe some scrolls contained information now lost forever. Ancient engineering methods, historical records that no longer exist, scientific observations forgotten by time. We cannot know exactly what vanished because much of the collection disappeared before later generations could preserve it. That uncertainty fuels the mystery even today. Somewhere inside those shelves may have existed discoveries that could have transformed our understanding of the ancient world.
And this is where the story becomes fascinating. The Great Library is famous not only because it existed, but because it disappeared. People often ask a simple question: who destroyed the library? Unfortunately, the answer is not simple at all. Unlike many historical events, there is no clear moment when everything was lost. Instead, historians encounter a puzzle filled with conflicting accounts, missing evidence, and centuries of debate. Some stories point toward war. Others blame political instability. Certain accounts suggest accidental destruction. A few theories propose that the library slowly declined over generations rather than vanishing in a single catastrophe. Each explanation contains pieces of evidence, yet none solves the mystery completely. The deeper historians investigate, the more complicated the story becomes. The destruction of the Great Library remains one of history's greatest unsolved questions. One of the most famous theories involves Julius Caesar. In 48 BCE, conflict erupted in Alexandria during a struggle for power in Egypt. During the fighting, fire spread through parts of the city. Ancient sources suggest some stored scrolls may have been damaged or destroyed. If true, the loss would have been devastating. Yet even this dramatic event does not fully explain the library's disappearance. The mystery continued long after Caesar's ships left Egypt. Evidence suggests the library may have survived beyond Caesar's time. Later writers still described scholars working in Alexandria. References to collections of texts continued appearing in historical records. This creates an intriguing possibility. Perhaps the famous fire damaged part of the library, but not all of it. Perhaps the institution continued operating for years afterward. If so, then the final chapter of the library's story remains hidden somewhere in history.
As centuries passed, Alexandria experienced political turmoil, invasions, economic challenges, and religious change. Each event placed pressure on institutions that depended upon stability. Libraries require resources. Scholars require support. Buildings require maintenance. Without those foundations, even the greatest centers of learning can decline. Some historians believe the Great Library gradually weakened over time until its influence faded and its collections disappeared piece by piece. Imagine shelves once filled with priceless knowledge, standing neglected. Scrolls slowly deteriorating, scholars departing for safer regions. Rooms once alive with discussion, falling silent. If this theory is correct, the library's end was not a single dramatic disaster, but a slow fading away. A gradual loss, almost too quiet for history to notice. In some ways, that possibility feels even more tragic than destruction by fire. Whether the library vanished suddenly or gradually, one fact remains undeniable. Humanity lost something extraordinary. Countless works survived because they were copied elsewhere, yet countless others vanished forever. Histories disappeared. Scientific observations disappeared. Philosophical discussions disappeared. Entire voices from the ancient world fell silent. Every lost scroll,
represents knowledge that can never be recovered completely. This is why the Great Library continues to capture our imagination. People naturally wonder what might have been hidden inside those missing texts. Did they contain forgotten inventions, unknown historical events, scientific discoveries ahead of their time? Most historians approach such questions carefully, but the mystery remains irresistible. Whenever knowledge disappears, curiosity rushes in to fill the empty space left behind. More than 2,000 years have passed since the Great Library stood at the center of Alexandria. Empires have risen and fallen, nations have appeared and disappeared. Technologies beyond imagination have transformed human civilization. Yet the library's story refuses to fade. Even today, historians, archaeologists, writers, and dreamers continue discussing its legacy. Few buildings in history have inspired such lasting fascination. The library became far more than a structure. It became a symbol. The Great Library came to represent humanity's endless search for understanding. Its mission was simple, yet extraordinary. Gather knowledge, preserve knowledge, share knowledge. That same mission continues in modern libraries, universities, museums, and digital archives around the world. Every time people protect information for future generations, they continue a tradition that once flourished within the walls of Alexandria. In modern times, scholars have worked tirelessly to reconstruct fragments of what the library once contained. Ancient references, surviving manuscripts, and historical records provide clues. Piece by piece, researchers attempt to rebuild the intellectual world that existed within Alexandria's halls. While the original collection may never be fully recovered, its influence survives through countless discoveries that shaped science, philosophy, mathematics, literature, and human thought. Perhaps the most powerful lesson of the Great Library is also the simplest. Knowledge is fragile. Civilizations often assume important information will survive forever. History teaches otherwise. Books can burn. Records can disappear. Entire generations of learning can vanish unexpectedly. The library reminds us that preserving knowledge is not merely an academic responsibility. It is a responsibility shared by every generation. Imagine standing inside the Great Library at its height. Around you, scholars discuss the movement of stars. Mathematicians solve complex problems. Historians record the stories of distant civilizations. Philosophers debate the meaning of existence. Every conversation carries the possibility of discovery. Every scroll contains the accumulated wisdom of countless lives. For a brief moment in history, Alexandria became the closest thing humanity had ever created to a universal center of knowledge. And yet, despite everything historians know, many questions remain unanswered. How many scrolls truly existed? Which discoveries were lost forever? What unknown ideas vanished before they could influence future generations? These mysteries continue to fuel debate and imagination. The unanswered questions are part of what makes the Great Library so unforgettable. Its absence became almost as powerful as its existence. There is something deeply human about the story of Alexandria. It combines ambition, curiosity, achievement, loss, and hope. The library represented humanity at its best. People from different cultures working together to expand understanding. Individuals dedicating their lives to learning. Generations contributing to a shared collection of wisdom. Even though the library disappeared, the values it represented continue inspiring people today. Every scientist searching for answers, every student opening a book, every researcher exploring the unknown
follows a path connected to the same spirit that once filled Alexandria. Curiosity remains one of humanity's greatest strengths. It drives exploration. It fuels innovation. It pushes civilizations forward. The Great Library may have vanished, but curiosity survived. And because curiosity survived, the library's true legacy survived as well.
As the sun sets over the Mediterranean Sea, the city of Alexandria remains. The original library may be gone, yet its story continues, traveling across centuries. Somewhere beneath layers of history, fragments of its world still wait to be discovered. The Great Library of Alexandria reminds us that knowledge can change civilizations. Curiosity can transform humanity. And some mysteries remain alive precisely because they were never fully solved. And perhaps that is the greatest secret the library left behind.
Thank you for joining this journey through one of history's greatest mysteries. If the Great Library had survived, the world might look very different today. We may never know what was lost inside its walls, but we do know this: the desire to learn, explore, and understand continue shaping our future, just as it shaped Alexandria thousands of years ago. And that story is still being written every single day.